You'd feel like you wasted your life because you did everything you were told at personal expense and cost, and then it still wasn't good enough.
Sounds like my mom.
And here's the thing, that might happen if you go down that path. You could go down the path of pleasing other people and they could still say no. You can do everything they ask of you and the answer could still be no, in which case, what's the point, right? Or alternatively, you can live your truth. You can do what you want on your own terms, and if people love you, they'll accept it. If they truly love you, they'll accept it because they'll accept that it's your life to live, and they'll learn to live with their own disappointment because it's their own fault for having expectations in the first place. It's their own fault for having expectations in the first place. Now, to some extent, people are entitled to a little bit of expectations if they've invested in you, but if you genuinely believe that you've kind of more or less delivered on that, or if they weren't doing that purely altruistically and they were doing it because of the outcome they want from that, then you're not obligated to that, or you're not obliged to that, because that wasn't done with no strings. Like, if people do something and it's not no strings, I don't really feel that you're beholden to honor something you didn't really agree to, but was just implied. Like, you know, now from their perspective, that would be nice or whatever, but I'm like, that's not your problem, because you're the one who has to live this life. And the thing is, okay, would you still feel good about that if you did everything they wanted, they accepted you, and then, God forbid, they just weren't there? Just like that, they weren't there anymore. All of those people you worked to please disappeared. What was the point? That was the point then, which is also real because ideally we outlive our parents. So there's going to be a point where everybody who had expectations and everybody who, yay, well, they're just not going to be there. Are you going to wait for that to live your life? Really? So I think the answer is to live your truth and live with the consequences. I think it's truth and consequences. I think that if you want a chance at being genuinely, would doing what other people want actually make you happy?
I did that for too long.
And you weren't happy?
No, that's why I've just kept to myself.
You felt like you were hiding?
Ever since I graduated college, yeah.
So ever since you graduated, you've been hiding because you've been made to feel like your true authentic self isn't enough.
Yeah.
Have you confronted?
It's against what?
The culture.
The expectations, the culture. I know that the life that I want to live, or the parts of the life that I do live now, are very different from where I come from. My community, whether it's my background, my upbringing, my community.
Have you confronted people and told people what you want, and that yes, this is your choice, and that, you know, to love you is to accept your choices?
Not that part, not the to love me part.
Because I think you can put
yeah.
I think you can set standards for what you want, and I think people can choose if they're going to be in your life or not if they understand that that's the choice they're making. If people understand something, and this is something I learned, I had to let go of a lot of friends and family. I had to cut off and reject people because I set standards for what was going to be allowable or permissible in my life. And there were people who weren't okay with that. And my answer was, that's fine.
I think I've been giving others the power to put the standards on me.
You have to flip that because it's your life. You want to change your life, you change your standards. You want people, life happens for you, not to you, when you make decisive action a priority. When you make decisive action a priority and you don't react to what other people want or to what happens in the environment or in the world, when you're not reactive and you're active in your own life, when you're a participant in your own life instead of a spectator, it changes. It changes everything. And the thing is, people are forced to move to your beat instead of the other way around. The difference is, you're not going to do that at the expense of somebody else's happiness. And it's your obligation to be someone who's very empathetic and realizes when you are. And to not do that, and to not be hurtful or to not leverage people to their detriment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's gold. That's gold. For real. But no, I genuinely believe that that's how you get to live your truth. I think that for a lot of people, especially that just left college or just graduated, I need to make a video for people who just left college or graduated. Maybe this is that video, but like my advice to anybody, my advice to anybody who just left college or high school is to understand that the choices in front of you, the funny thing about like going to school or the traditional 9-to-5 job, if you're good enough, like will always be there. It'll always be there. Like corporate America is gonna be there. Retail might be gone. Truck driving might be gone. A lot of things might be gone in the next 5 to 10 years, but corporate America and the Fortune 500, they'll be there. College, for the most part, in some form or fashion, will be there, and they don't turn down money. They don't turn down money. They'll take you at 35 if you write a big enough check, or if you take out that loan. The banks are always giving out loans to people who can't pay them back. But like, so guess what? If you make mistakes and then you decide you want to play it safe, the good news is it's always there. That's why it's called playing it safe. It's always there. It's always going to be there. But while you have all of your youth and strength, chasing your dream won't always be there. You won't always have the strength, youth, health, and vitality, unfortunately, sometimes to pursue and chase your dream. Now, you might be watching this and you might be 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, and it might not be over for you, but it might be. You might have missed your chance because you didn't find your truth, or you weren't brave enough and you didn't seize your moment, and you have regret now, and you might have to live with that. Like that's like, and I don't want that for you. I don't want you to wake up and say, I have to live. Do you want to, like, there was my window, there was my moment, and it's gone.
I don't want to be that person watching the video and being like, fuck, that's me.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm just turned 50.
Right. Because again, it might not be over. There's some people who are very robust at 50.
Of course.
I'm 35. I've won Mortal Kombat, so I'm ageless, so I'm fine. Like I'm gonna be it's like I'm gonna be like Cobra Kai at like 55 and everything like that, drop kicking people. I'm gonna be like, so that's fine. Like, but that's what a good workout routine is like. Like eating those eggs every morning. Like, but for real, you should just you need to reconcile your truth. But I think that you're internalizing things, and I think that it'll be better for you when you don't have to be confrontational with the people in your life, but you have to be direct with them and you have to be honest with them. Because the thing is, people respect, and again, you come from a very non-confrontational culture, so the thing is, you have the ability to leverage some authority here by making a move. By making a move, it catches people off guard to some extent.
Yes.
And again, people are very accommodating sometimes. And so if you want to get your way, so to speak, and live your truth, demanding it politely, but still,
On that point, I do that. I know how to put my feet down. I know how to be stern. I can be confrontational, but more so in the productive, not in a negative.
I don't
know if that's the right word.
There's a way to be
direct.
There's a way to be direct versus aggressive, or offensive, and it's not pandering or political correctness. Mm-hmm. It's just being straightforward.
So in those moments when I have been that, outside of, I know there's times maybe, I know that it comes off like aggressive or too forward, but outside of those times.
That's other people's thing and perception, and that's kind of on them.
So there's a conflict that I have too. It's not a main conflict, but it's a conflict where being a young woman of color, especially an Asian American woman, mm-hmm. and then putting my foot down, it's like who the fuck are you? Like, you're a bitch or whatever. You're bossy. You have like those double standards where I could stand up in front of this room and say something.
Power is power.
And then you have somebody like, I don't know, maybe John, and then it's.
Well, I mean,
I've been in those situations.
I get you.
Where I say the same thing as the person next to me, and then it's like, oh, but you're supposed to be submissive. You're supposed to keep your mouth shut.
So if I go on stage and curse, mm-hmm. If I was a young white guy, that's edgy, that's bold, that's authentic. If I do that, as a black dude, I wish some people just thinking I'm uneducated, uncouth, and uncultured, mm-hmm. and again uneducated, because yeah, I accept that double standards exist to some people and that that's not fair, but I also don't really care, and that's not necessarily my reasoning for not doing something. But at the same time, I don't worry about double standards in the sense of if the game is rigged, I'm gonna win anyway, because I'm that good. But that's a confidence thing.
Okay.
But that's understanding that, but if people are gonna cast you in that role or feel that way, you can calculate how they react in that way. And the thing is, it's not always a disadvantage, because somebody who's aggressive and somebody who's like not liked in that way also isn't trying to be liked. And therefore, but everyone else is trying to be liked. And everyone else doesn't want to be a problem or a burden. And so it's a way of flipping the script sometimes, because the thing is, you're not that. And in one-to-one context, that will become clear to people who are receptive to it, right? But until or unless they do, it's still not a disadvantage, even though it hurts and that's not who you are, and it always hurts to be thought less of. It's still leverage, because when people don't understand you, they can't anticipate you. And so if you want to make a move, they don't know what to do with that. And that means that, you know, ultimately, if they have ill intent towards you, it's very hard for them to get their way with you if they already don't understand who you actually are. So I would just mentally get past that, in the sense of, oh, you can think or feel that way about me, but the truth is going to win out. Or it's like, by just looking at me sideways, you're going to miss the point, and oh, it's going to hurt when I come swinging. Because if you look at me sideways and you don't see me for what I actually am, when I come swinging, that's going to hurt, because you underestimated me or you thought the wrong thing. And so you went looking for my left hand and I came with the right. And so I don't worry in that way. I'll worry about that later. But I don't in that way, I don't like being taken out of context either. It's hurtful to be misunderstood. It's the thing that made me feel very much like a loner, was that no one was ever going to understand me. But I also realized that people fear what they don't understand, but people sometimes have a healthy respect for what they fear. And that is something I can use if they make me. So it's just a thought. I know that it's not, the main thing is to communicate your truth as best as possible, but you have to respect the fact that sometimes it will fall on deaf ears. There's some people that aren't there to hear the message. There's some people who will refuse to see you as you actually are, and it's their loss.
Keep moving.
I don't sell skeptics, like I told you.
Right.
People who want to take me out of context, I'm not here to convert them. The truth is, what is it Helen Keller said? The truth is incontrovertible. You can run from it, you can hide from it, but in the end, there it is.